You are listening to the Love and Confidence Podcast, episode number 125. Welcome to the Love and Confidence Podcast. If you're a woman who wants to feel more irresistible, have more fun, and create deeper and more authentic connections, this podcast is for you. I am your host, certified life coach Lærke Nielsen, and I help you become the best and most confident version of yourself so you can attract the love life you desire. Let's get started. Hey there, welcome back. Letting go. That is something I know a lot of you struggle with. Letting go of someone you used to be close to. And this is the topic of today's podcast. Now, we're not talking about letting go of someone 3 days after the breakup or 1 week or something. We're more talking about the phase that starts after you pass the initial grief, the initial maybe 2 months line. Once you've been grieving and feeling the sadness and allowed yourself to process the emotions, then it's time to let go and move on. But for some, it takes longer, although it doesn't have to. And maybe you think you're supposed to wake up one morning and no longer miss him or want him back, and that you then will not think of him anymore, and you just have to wait until that moment arrives. But here is the mind-blowing truth. It can be done much faster when you understand that it's not about the feelings you have for someone, but the meaning you give these feelings. It's what you tell yourself about them and the decision you make on how to react when you are caught in the brain spin about not being able to let go. It is all about deciding to let go. So what are some signs that you haven't let go? It could be that you check their social media account. You keep thinking about what are they doing now and where are they and with who. And you are nervous about running into them one day and maybe seeing them with a new partner. And maybe you keep thinking about what you could have done differently, what you could have done, if anything, to prevent the breakup. And you still think that your life was better before when you were still with them. And then you might not want to admit it, but maybe secretly you hope that they will come back to you. You glorify the relationship and you tend to forget the parts that were less amazing. And there could be other signs, depending on how much you internalize the breakup and make it mean that you are not lovable or not good enough, which I know a lot of you also do. Now, what are then some reasons why you haven't let go? Maybe you think there's a chance he will come back, and then it's almost like you are keeping the line open if you don't let go of him completely. Or you are afraid of the emptiness. The suffering from missing someone is familiar, but the emptiness is scary. But this is here where you might get the realization at some point that the suffering and staying stuck is actually worse than whatever empty feeling is on the other side of letting go. Because here's the thing, it's never really empty in your life. You have other people, and you're not alone unless you want to be. You can decide to expand your social life and go out and do activities that give you new perspective. And this is also what I talked about in last week's episode about 3 surprising ways to move on after breakup. So if you haven't listened to that, I highly recommend you go back and get some inspiration there as well. Maybe you think you need to have a replacement before you can let go. And that is actually the worst trap you can get into. Because if you never learn to be happy on your own, there is a risk you won't be happy in a relationship either. You don't actually need a replacement. You just need to create a life that feels so full and exciting that you don't need a partner, even if at some point you want one. And maybe the reason you haven't let go yet is there just isn't enough going on in your life, and you're not creating something new. You have the same routines as always, and you don't feel that excited about your life. And so your brain keeps pulling you back into ruminating about your ex and how things were better back then because there's nothing new that really demands your attention. And maybe your story is also that you never really understood the reason for the breakup, and you keep thinking about what could have happened and what was the real reason behind it. And as you might never get that reason, and maybe he doesn't know that either, you can go on for a long time trying to crack that code without realizing that it doesn't actually serve you. You can't do anything with the answer anyway. And then maybe you just don't want to let go of him. So take a moment and get really honest with yourself. Is the reason you are still not moving on that you actually don't want to? And if so, then why? Why don't you want to let go? So I'm going to give you some guidance here on how to actually let go. And as I said before, this is a decision. It's a decision you make. Letting go of someone is radical accept of the breakup. Is that you decide that from now on you are moving forward. In spite of whatever feeling you still have, you can still have a lot of feelings for someone, but you can decide to fully accept that it's over and begin to move on, even if you have these feelings. This is not about suppressing your emotions or gaslighting yourself. It's about accepting that even if you still have these emotions, you are not letting yourself spend a lot of time on it. You're not giving that part of your life so much attention and brain power anymore. Because what we focus on grows, and the more you think of your ex, the more space they will take up in your life, even if they're no longer present in person in your life. So if you miss them or you feel sad, then you can just decide to give yourself compassion for a moment and then redirect your attention to something else. And every time your brain wants you to think about what you could have said and done, or if you could have prevented the breakup, or what is he doing now, and is he with someone else, and will he find a partner before me, or is there any chance he will come back at all? And all these things, every time your brain starts to think about all this and tell you that this is something you need to think about, then you kindly but firmly remind it that we are no longer doing this. It is over, and you commit yourself to redirect your attention to something else. Not in a harsh and self-deceptive way, but like an adult who's responsible for a child, that you are gently but firmly telling that we're not going to have more candy today. It's your higher self who takes over and knows what is best for you long term. And sometimes self-love looks like saying no to what you know doesn't serve you, even if you have urges to do it in the moment, even if you keep having thoughts about him and it feels like it's very important to think it through and feel sad and maybe a little bit lost. You can be very aware of when that happens and then redirect your brain. So you can commit to a thought or a few sentences that you write down, either on your phone or on a piece of paper, and that when you think of, you get a peace of mind. And some examples could be, I still don't think it was fair, but I'm choosing to let go now. I will never know why he left me, but now it's time to take back my energy to myself and build a new life. I feel certain that we could have been good together, but he didn't agree, and I can't build a life with someone who doesn't want to build a life together. So I choose to let go and put my energy into something that serves me better. I know that I miss him and love him, but we can't be together when only one of us wants to. I choose to let go, take back my power, and start a new chapter in my life. So you need to brainstorm a few sentences before you find something that feels right for you. And then you want to remind yourself of this every time you start thinking of him. And at the same time, you decide to take action as a woman who's already over him. What are some things the version of you who is over him would do? Start doing this one small step at a time. You don't have to be ready or fully over someone. You move into a new phase of your life by gently pushing yourself a bit to get out and do the new things and start creating a new life for yourself. And the more you give time and attention to other things in your life, the less space your ex is going to take, and the more you grow the rest of your life. So I hope this helps, and as usual, if you want my personal support, you can book a free call on the link in the show notes. I'll be back in a week from now, and until next time, remember, no matter if you're single or not, you are loved, you are worthy, and you are important in this world. Have a beautiful week. If you like what you're hearing on this podcast and you want to get support from a coach on your love journey, I invite you to book a free consult call with me. You will find the link in the show notes. And also, don't forget to subscribe, and I would love it if you would rate and review this podcast, and then you'll also help other women find it.